Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in time and space. Welcome to Just the Word TV, and thank you for joining our daily morning devotion. This channel is built on one mission to help you hear what God actually said, not tradition and just the word. So, so far we have been looking at the book of Proverbs, going through from chapters 1 to 4, and today we're ending chapter 4 looking at from verses 20 to 27 and just getting an idea of, again, wisdom and how wisdom is being applied in our lives. We've been introduced to wisdom as a personification, being personified as a woman, and through that we're able to understand that wisdom is not something that is, it's something that is, it's not dead, but it's more alive than we think it is, and it plays an important part in how we interact with the things here on earth. So we see that in this fourth chapter now, Solomon is shifting his focus from an external path to the internal condition of the learner. Throughout the earlier parts of the chapter, he contrasted the path of wisdom with the path of the wicked, outlining the dangers of one and the benefits of the other. Now, however, he moves to the practical mechanics of how a person stays on that right path. He explains that living wisely is not merely about following a set of external rules, but about cultivating a specific inner discipline. This section serves as a manual for intentional living, focusing heavily on where we direct our attention and how we manage our inner lives. The passage begins with a call to focus. In verse 20, Solomon says, "My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings." The language here is specific and instructive. To attend means to pay close attention or to give something your priority. It implies that wisdom does not simply happen to a person by accident, it requires a deliberate decision to focus on instruction. When Solomon says to incline thy ear, he is using a physical metaphor for a mental action. It suggests leaning in closely to hear someone who is speaking quietly, filtering out background noise to catch every syllable. This sets the stage for the rest of the passage. Wisdom is not acquired through passive hearing, but through active, focused listening. Solomon continues this thought in verse 21 by connecting what we see with what we internalize. He writes, "Let them not depart from thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart." Here, the instruction moves from ear to eye, and finally to the heart. The phrase "let them not depart from thine eyes" suggests maintaining a visual focus on the truth, never letting it fade into the background of one's life. However, observation alone is not enough. The command to keep them in the midst of thine heart speaks to retention and internalization. In the biblical context, the heart represents the seat of the will, the intellect, and the emotions. By keeping wisdom in the midst or center of the heart, one allows these principles to settle in their thoughts and motives. The logic is that a person's life will naturally flow whatever occupies the center of their focus. The reason for this intense focus is explained in verse 22. "For they are life unto those that find them, health to all their flesh." Solomon is arguing that wisdom produces tangible practical results. It's not just philosophical theory, it translates into stability and well being. When a person operates with wisdom, they avoid the destructive habits, stress, and conflict that often occupy foolish choices. This avoidance of unnecessary trouble contributes to a sense of peace and physical well being. The verse suggests that wisdom works from the inside out, beginning as an idea in the mind and manifesting as health and stability in the whole person. This leads to perhaps the most famous and pivotal verse in the chapter, verse 23: "Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." This is the core principle of the entire section. To keep the heart means to guard it, watch over it, and protect it like a fortress. The phrase "with all diligence" indicates that this should be a person's highest priority, requiring constant vigilance. The reason given is that the heart is the source of the issues of life. The word "issues" here refers to a spring or flowing stream. Just as a water source determines the quality of the river that flows from it, the condition of the inner heart determines the trajectory of a person's life. Every decision, habit, attitude, and reaction flows outward from what is stored inside. If the heart is guarded and filled with wisdom, the life will reflect that. If it is neglected, the life will become chaotic. So, having established the importance of the heart, Solomon then explains how this inner condition manifests externally, starting with speech. In verse 24, he instructs, "Put away from thee a forward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee." A forward mouth refers to speech that is crooked, deceptive, and lacking in integrity. Solomon's point is logical. If the heart is the source, the mouth is the primary outlet. A guarded heart should result in disciplined speech. Wisdom requires a person to value honesty and clarity, rejecting manipulative or corrupt language. By controlling one's speech, a person reinforces the boundaries they have set for their heart. The instruction moves from speech to action and direction. In verses 25 to 27, Solomon focuses on the physical walk, which serves as a metaphor for the course of one's life. Verse 25 says, "Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee." This is a command to maintain a singular focus. Distraction is the enemy of wisdom. Let me repeat that one more time. Distraction is the enemy of wisdom. By keeping one's eyes fixed forward, a person's a person avoids the temptations and diversions that lie on the peripheral. It is a call to be goal oriented and to refuse to be sidetracked by things that do not align with the path of wisdom. Verse 26 adds a layer of critical thinking to this forward motion. "Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established." To ponder means to weigh, measure, or consider carefully. It implies that a wise person does not act on impulse. Before taking a step, before making a decision or a commitment, they evaluate where that step will lead. They look at the long term direction of their choices. The result of this careful consideration is that their ways are established, meaning their life becomes stable, consistent, and predictable in a positive sense. Finally, verse 27 concludes this section with a warning against compromise. "Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil." This reinforces the idea of the straight path. Deviating to the right or to the left represents distraction, compromise, or a gradual drifting away from ethical principles. What this looks like is, and I encourage you to research this. You should look at what happens when a stock price drifts away from its mean, right? Simple homework. And what you'll see the stock price constantly just ebbing and flowing. It's one day it's completely away from the mean in an upward direction, and another day it's completely away from the mean in a downward direction. The idea is not to give you financial advice or stock advice or investment advice in that particular sense. All I want you to do is look at how the stock price ebbs and flows around this particular mean. This is the same thing. Um, we want to make sure that we're on and staying on that particular path. That path is our average. That path is our mean. When things look out of whack, when things look like we are too far away from God, that mean, that average, that standard, is what we're supposed to be able to snap back to. We're supposed to be able to see something. We're supposed to be able to have an understanding or an awareness that we're too far away from that average. We're too far away from that mean, and we need to make sure that we snap back to that mean as much as possible. And the reason why I want you to look at the stock price and I want you to look at the ebbs and flows around that mean is to give you an idea that it's never going to be perfect. I'm not asking you to be perfect, and God's not asking you to be perfect. But the idea is that when it seems that you are drifting too far away from your mean, right? You're drifting too far away from the standard that God has placed in your life. By all means, it is a opportunity for you to snap back to that mean, or God will correct you as need be. So the instruction to remove thy foot from evil is active. It means that if one finds themselves stepping towards something wrong, they must immediately correct their course. It is the final practical application of a guarded heart, a refusal to wander into dangerous territory. So, to summarize, this passage provides a cohesive system for living wisely. It begins internally with the reception of wisdom through the ears and eyes, and the storage of that wisdom in the center of the heart. It moves to the concept of protection, asserting that the heart must be guarded above all else because it is the source of everything a person does. Finally, it describes the outward evidence of this inner work: speech that is free from deception, eyes that are focused on the goal, and feet that stay on a straight, verified path. Solomon's logic is clear. Because the heart determines the path, and the path determines the life, the most practical thing a person can do is guard their heart with absolute diligence. So, I hope that this devotion was able to give you some insight. I hope that it was able to help you understand, again, wisdom's active role in your life. The whole entire, what I'm seeing as a theme here with Solomon, he's keeping up with this personification. He's keeping up with the fact that wisdom is not just a theory that we're just reading about here. Wisdom is not something that we're just kind of just simply just flipping pages through, and we're just looking through and just kind of like trying to understand whatever it might be. Wisdom is something that is real. Wisdom is something that, if you take the time to understand what it is and what it's trying to do in your life, you'll understand the benefits that it brings. Again, wisdom, and this is just me, this is all pointing back to Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, where it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness." And to me, that translates to seek the character of God and seek alignment with that character, and all things shall be added onto you. So, I just want to kind of touch something before I end. First and foremost, if anyone is still judging me, I ask that you please look at yourself in the mirror. Plain and simple. Look at yourselves in the mirror. Uh, yeah, look at yourselves in the mirror before you even decide that you're going to raise a nasty tone about me at any point in time. By all means, please look at yourselves in the mirror. Number two, please be absolutely careful about what when you talk about people's soil and making it seem like your soil is the best soil that is ever there. As I remember, right? Same person talking about soil, right? You told me, "Oh, make sure you don't leave where you're planted right now. Don't leave where you're planted because of what society is saying in X, Y, and Z." So how dare you? And you, why do you feel why did you have the audacity? Why did you have the audacity to get up and use your opportunity to speak a word into a young woman's life to throw shots at somebody else? When you are the one, in fact, told me to stay in the soil in which I'm planted in. How many years ago? So the second point I want trying to make is, right, before you get up and speak about me, right? Before you get up and speak about me, make sure you remember the things you also spoke to me beforehand. Because what you said last night does not match up to what you said before. It don't match. It don't line up. So again, please be absolutely, 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 absolutely careful about what you say about people and where they come from and what they do. Let me put it to you this way. If you all had a problem with me saying what is a spiritual Baptist, then you should understand. You should understand the things that what you're doing. You should understand what you're doing is the same. It's all I have to say is, before you decide that you're going to judge me, make sure you check yourself. You're not perfect. You never will be perfect, as a matter of fact. No matter how much you want to try to jump around and make it seem as if you're perfect, 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 please understand this: you are not perfect. Do not talk about the soil in which people come from. Because if you want to talk about the soil that I am planted in, you want to talk about the soil that I am planted in, please understand the type of. I pray that God is able to reveal certain things to you that was not revealed to you beforehand, and that you come to a sense of enlightenment to please watch your mouth. And never again should anyone tell me to watch my mouth, since this is, again, Wild Wild West. Do not ever tell me to watch my mouth. And the last thing, do not begin to judge people until your own children are put into the same situation. To the same person, if your child was put in the same situation as me, your entire situation, whatever's coming out of your mouth will be completely different. It will be absolutely different. So I'm saying all this out of love, because what I don't want is, I'm able to take the pressure, whatever it might be, but again, I want this faith to grow. So I'm saying this out of all love. Please watch what you say about people. Please watch what you do around people. Please, before you ask people to do anything at all, please be careful of what you are saying. You I personally don't want anyone, again, and I'll say it again. I will not encourage anyone to be. I hope that this devotion was able to give you some insight. So, able to give you some wisdom and able to give you some understanding. Um as much wisdom as a lot of elders claim to have, I'm not seeing it. I see the human person. I see the access to knowledge, but I see no wisdom to the access to that knowledge, thus causing chaos. Whatever came out of you was absolute chaos. So until next time, I ask that everyone that you stay grounded, that you stay humbled, and above all else, stay aligned with just the word. Thank you.